Most planes do not fly in the stratosphere. There are personal jets that can fly. So typically a personal jet can get up to a ceiling of around 43,000 feet. So there are some personal jets that can fly in the stratosphere. The military does have a few planes that can fly into the stratosphere.
How high is the stratosphere usually?
It varies actually. So it can be as low as 13,000 feet, and then it can go up to above 70,000 feet.
Okay.
It depends on where you are. If you're near the poles, then the stratosphere is actually lower.
Okay.
If you're at the equator, the stratosphere is actually higher.
Okay.
So in those grants, they actually talked about this. They talked about the different levels of the stratosphere and why you would have to fly a plane at 70,000 feet, specifically above the equator, for it to be really impactful, because they want the chemicals that are injected to remain in the stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to inject them in the troposphere, they would fall down within a few days. So they wouldn't really have an impact. The troposphere is the lower level, and that's where most commercial planes fly, or most planes, yes, in general fly. If they inject the planes if they fly the planes really high, or even balloons, into the stratosphere, and they inject the chemicals up there, that's when they can stay up there for a year or two, and that's when they can have that cooling impact.
Okay.
And again, this is modeled after what they saw happen when the volcano erupted and injected the sulfur really high into the stratosphere.
Okay.
So we're not just looking at these planes flying high in the stratosphere and injecting chemicals. We're looking at low-level planes that are being flown and injecting chemicals and spraying as well. Mm-hmm. And so what we did is we did a deeper dive into the military spraying pesticides and different chemicals. And so we actually have already released a legal update on this, and received a really positive response to that in terms of people understanding the information, and now they're going out and wanting to learn more about if there's any spraying in their local area. But basically we discovered that the United States Air Force has a specialized unit that's dedicated to just spraying these chemicals. There's over 20 dangerous chemicals that they're spraying. We know that these can cause health effects as severe as cancer.
Okay.
And so the legal update explains all of that. But I want to kind of go into this a little bit more to explain the evolution of some of our research to you, and how we've expanded our subject matter from just plane spraying. So basically, you'll see here, these are the C-130 airplanes. These are being loaded with chemicals. This is from the Air Force website.
Okay.
You'll see here now the planes are spraying those chemicals. And again, these are at really low levels. And this isn't just, out in a field. This is actually in residential areas that they're doing this. And the idea is for mosquito control and other measures. For example, on the screen, you're going to see a map. So we asked for the maps. We wanted to know where they were spraying. Okay. And so this map, it just shows you how off balance this seems, right? So this map shows circled areas that they avoided when they were spraying. This is near Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. This was for mosquito control. So they were spraying for Dibron or Naled, which is an organophosphate that will kill adult mosquitoes. So, and by the way, it's banned in the EU. They don't even use it there.
Wow.
But our military is spraying it here.
And obviously, if it's over mosquitoes, it's over people.
Right.
Can we imagine that at least in this, I mean, it looks like they're doing it just like we would imagine describing chemtrail, these lines in the sky. Does it leave lines? Do you think the people looked up that day and saw what, this looks like? Are they seeing lines in the sky when this is being sprayed?
Yeah, so you can see in this image that in that particular image, you can see a blue cloud basically from the spraying. It's not going to look like those lines that you might see in that image, but you will be able to see this spraying. It's not just entirely translucent. Okay. So you would be able to see it if it's happening. But just looking at this map again, the circled areas, those represent areas that had bald eagles' nests. So they avoided the areas with the bald eagles' nests so that they wouldn't kill the baby bald eagles. But they didn't circle any residential areas.
That's amazing.
Again, we're trying to protect from mosquitoes and mosquito-borne illnesses, but is the cure worse than the disease?
Right.
So we really have to weigh that. But going on into the evolution of our research, so what we did is we looked not only at the fact that our military was spraying, but we looked at the technology that they were using to spray. And we saw that they're using a technology that was created by Battelle, which is a government defense contractor. They actually make vaccines as well.
Wow.
And so we were looking at the technology, and we can actually play the video now.
Okay.
So that we could see the technology and work. But basically, Battelle developed a spray system, and this is what the nozzles are. We can see here.
Yeah.
This is their facility where they do the testing, and these are the actual spray nozzles that they use on the military planes to spray the chemicals. You can see how fine the particles are, how really
look at
dense that spray is.
Yeah.
And this is just them demonstrating how it works. They put it on a panel like that, and that basically gets attached to the plane wing. You can attach it to drones as well. You can also attach it to military
Maybe that's what's happening in New Jersey right now. Right.
So you can see how advanced this technology is. So when we were looking into this spraying system, we pulled up the patent. And so that's what I have on the screen for you now. This is Battelle's patent. And we were reviewing the patent, and when we looked at what could be sprayed with the patent, it lists the different types of things that can be sprayed: antibiotics, anti-cancer agents, other pharmaceutical products, a vaccine, and
Protein and enzyme, DNA or DNA fragments or other biological products, and anti-inflammatory, a vitamin and antiseptic, morphine or other pain-killing drugs, nicotine, and so on, is what this apparatus is capable of spraying from airplanes.
yeah, the
Wow.
apparatus that our military is using to spray organophosphates.